Welcome to Liberty and EDC. I'm your host, Daniel Norman, and we're here with Jackie Smith, who's running for state assembly. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Daniel.
Thank you for coming on.
You bet. I was looking forward to coming up here. I love it up here in this area. It's so pretty up
Awesome.
here.
So tell us about yourself. Who's Jackie Smith as a person?
Well, I have about 30 years business experience. I
Yeah.
moved up to this area about 9 years ago. We bought our house in Rockland, and I was in biotech for 12 years. So I worked
wow.
for AstraZeneca. I was their senior administrator for 150 scientists.
Wow.
So I learned a lot about vaccines and pandemics back then. So it's coming in
wow.
handy, unfortunately, now.
Yeah, we definitely need good administrators in government for sure.
Yeah. And I went to San Diego State, and I went back to school after they closed their division down, and I went to UC Santa Cruz and got a certificate in business management and project management.
Oh.
So then I came up here and got my real estate license and intended on selling real estate and just having a small business. And then the election happened in 2016, and I got involved in politics.
Okay.
So I got involved, and I started a club. I became a delegate for the Democratic Party, and then I thought, what else could I do? And that's when I started finding out about the assembly position and what was happening there. So that's kind of how I got started into politics again in my life. I was in politics back in 1972 in high school, which is 100 years ago for you. But and back then it was the McGovern campaign, and that was my first campaign that I ever worked on. But I've been involved in politics my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is your first time running?
Yes. I've been, chairs of many boards of a few nonprofits. So I have a lot of experience there. But running for office is a little different. It's not for sissies, that's for sure. It's all encompassing. It's 24/7. I don't think people realize, as I'm sure you have, that you've seen that it's really your whole life becomes this to get this job.
Oh.
It is 24/7. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. You're in the shower thinking about it. You're driving your car, you're thinking about it. But at the end of the day, you're doing good work. And at the end of the day, it's for the greater good. And I think that's what it's all about. And it's at this time in my life that I'm able to do this because, I am a senior, and I am on Social Security now since at 62. Yeah, I started because I was running for office. And I just saw what was happening to my fellow seniors in our environment and all those things. And I thought I needed to step up. So that's why I'm doing this. So.
Wow. Now, let me ask you, what is kind of your philosophy on government?
Wow. Well, I believe that we need to lift our middle class up, and the working man needs to be lifted up. My dad was a Teamster. He was a milkman. My mom was a secretary. So they were hardworking people, and I come from that background. My dad was a Teamster, true blue, and I was the benefit of the union. And my partner now is in the union. And I believe that we need to lift the middle class up, and everybody should have a chance to have a house and to have, education and to have a good retirement and to not live in fear like some of the seniors are living in fear here in the district. And it's very scary for some of them. They just can't afford to live here because it's too expensive. So that's kind of why. But Paul, I think government can be good if it's done correctly. If we work together and we work as a team, bipartisan things that could work together. For example, I'm working on this mobile home, the 25-year leases that they're putting in front of these seniors. It's a bipartisan issue. These seniors are suffering. They're on fixed income, and they...
actually, we have an episode on the show where we... who do we interview, Justin?
Tamara James.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm working with her. Yeah, I'm working with her.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, we're trying to push that forward, and I've taken that on as one of my missions when I go to the assembly to help these seniors because many are suffering, and I, as you well know, that they have no resources other than what they get from the Social Security. It only goes up 2%, and then their rent's going up 10%. Where is that money coming from? And then I'm on the commission, Older Adult Commission on Aging for Placer County. And the number one homeless person is over the age of 55.
Oh, really?
And that's scary.
Wow.
Scary.
Wow.
Scary times. So in the situation I am right now, I think being part of a seat at the table as a senior is going to be very important for the seniors in this district because there's 9 times as many seniors coming here in the next 9 years. So there's a silver tsunami, as I'm sure you've heard.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, like all the baby boomers, my generation,
Oh,
are they're retiring and they're coming here. I guess the number one, there was an article in the SACB, the number one way U-Haul is to Sacramento. So that says something. So yeah, I think we need to protect our seniors. And as we age in place, we need to be, think about that. And government has a big role in that. And the seniors really haven't had a voice at the table, and they need to be. And that's one of the reasons I'm running too, because my opponent hasn't stood up for seniors and veterans and disabled and our healthcare workers and the healthcare
And
workers.
why do you say that?
Well, because voting against affordable housing bills and voting against healthcare benefits for our healthcare workers, it's very sad. I mean, even COVID PPE, he's voted against. Even for the COVID relief, Senate Bill 915, he voted against COVID relief for mobile homeowners. I mean, who does that unless you're bought by corporations? And that's another thing why I'm running is because I am not bought. I am totally funded by people that are giving $20, that are giving $10, that are giving, it's amazing. And the unions are helping me as well. So, and that's, I think we need to get corporations out of politics because when you watch my opponent vote with the companies, it's like, wow, then you know what side his bread is buttered. And I won't roll that way. I won't. It's not right. And that's where
Sorry,
I think.
I was laughing because
No.
of your roll pun and being buttered.
Well,
no, I don't
I have
think
a
there was
lot of,
no
I have
pun
a lot of
intended,
those. You can't be. I've been in a few barbecues in my life, so I've had a few little one-liners. My father was kind of an armchair philosopher, and he was a milkman, but he had to like say, it's hard to be in the arena because the spectators will always criticize. Or another one is, don't do business with skunks because they'll eventually stink. So those are good things. So I've taken those with me in my life. So they seem to work pretty well.
So let me ask you, what does that look like, the government helping to lift up that middle class or helping out seniors? Boots on the ground, like practical, what does that look like for you?
Well, I think the seniors that are in the mobile homes, for example, say, we'll just use a veteran that has been paying $450 a month on his space rent on his mobile home. He's only getting 10% or 2% per year increase from the Social Security. We have to have like a Prop 13 where it would affect the seniors so they could just stay in place, and maybe the government could step in and kind of help the landlord. I am a landlord. We own a duplex. And, they could have government subsidies to make sure that our veteran stays in that home and that he doesn't get pushed out on the street. He has nowhere to go. If you watch on my website, there's a little video called Trapped. It's about this exact topic. And these seniors that are on there are all Republicans, and it's a bipartisan issue. And that one man with the Air Force hat, he actually was crying about his wife and how he couldn't take care of her. And he just didn't have the money. But I said, if the government could come in and help him, he's already being helped through, he's getting his pension and Social Security, but now he can't sleep because he's worried about paying his space rent. The government should be able to step in and say, it's okay, we're going to help you. You have nothing to worry about. You can stay in age in place. And that's what we need to do.
What's the website?
My website is www.jackiesmith4assembly. And you can look at my videos there. I have one on Trapped, which is about the mobile home problem, and one about protecting our veterans, which is I interviewed a Gold Star mom about how important it is for us to protect our veterans and how we need to stand up for them because many are becoming homeless. They can't afford their drugs, they can't afford their food. So it's very sad. And I think they fought for our country, and we need to stand up for them.
So how should the government be helping them out?
Well, I think we need to look closer and see what their situation is. I mean, there's many that are they're isolated that, they're giving them assistance, but they don't know how far they're gone. And we need to kind of, like these people in the mobile home park. That's a good example of like how we need to keep track of what, like in Paradise, 87 seniors died in those mobile homes. I mean, why did that happen? we need to have a place where those records are housed. Like maybe the police or the firemen know who, maybe grandma's in this house by herself and she doesn't have any pets and she can't hear, she's deaf. Maybe it would have been nice if there was a registry for that. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do in government to help.
Yeah.
So this is what I think about and what I'd like to do. And I know being in the assembly, we can write bills that can help, benefit, and hopefully we can get through. And I think being part of the majority in California, when I write a bill, I'll have more of a chance than my opponent because I can get things done because we have a majority. And when we need to get these people help, we're going to need to push things through.
So one of those things you're saying for like helping those seniors is doing that registry, but you're also talking about, helping them out financially.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, I mean, that's what, a lot of people are against Prop 15, but that money for Prop 15 is also going to help the schools, but
Remind us what Prop 15 is?
That's the Schools and Communities First.
Okay.
And Schools and Communities First will help our seniors. It's not only helping our schools, but it's also helping our seniors because it'll help with transportation, to get them to hospitals, to help them with disabled, if you're in a wheelchair, it'll help. Those funds will also help. So not only that money being taxed to Chevron and to some of the bigger corporations like Amazon and Google, those funds now will be able to help, should that bill pass, will help the senior community too. So I mean, those are resources that we could get. Right now in California, because of COVID, things are very compromised. So we just have to hope for the best and we can get out of this virus that's kind of taken everything down right now and how it's changed everything. So even politics.
Yeah. So state assembly, how does a state assembly member kind of affect, your average person's like everyday life? Like what level of, laws are you guys creating?
So for example, like the recycling bill that was just passed for plastics. One of the assembly persons wrote that.
I'm not familiar with that. Tell
I
me
forgot
about
the
it.
number, but it's like recycle single-use plastics. So I could write a bill. I would get rid of straws, So I could write a
gotcha.
bill, and then it goes into committees, and then it goes into the assembly. There's 80 members of the assembly, and you vote, and the majority would vote, and then they say, yes, we like that, we want to get rid of straws. And so then it goes to the Senate, and they go through there, and then it comes back, and then it goes to the governor. So being in the assembly is very critical. It's where the rubber meets the road for a lot of people, and I don't think they realize that. So, these folks that are living in these mobile home parks, I could write a bill that says that we need to protect these seniors, that we need to have a subsidy for them, that people who are on fixed income, that they need to be subsidized. And then it would go through committee and all that to find funding and all of that. So it goes through the whole process. But that's why, it's the initial of starting, where's the bill, like how a bill starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think people realize, we know that Congress is this and, the Senate is that, but Assembly is where the rubber meets the road, where we start things, and then it goes to Senate and then to the governor.
Oh, okay.
That's how you get stuff done.
Yeah. So, are all bills started in assembly or?
No.
Okay.
No, it starts in the Senate too. You can write a bill
Okay.
in the Senate, like SB 915, which was COVID relief for mobile. So once it passed the Senate, then it goes back to the Assembly, and the Assembly has to agree on it, and then it goes back to the Assembly, and then it goes to the governor.
Gotcha.
So that's why he's had like 3,000 bills get written a year, and he's got a stack like this on his desk. So.
Yeah. He's probably
Yeah.
getting cramps doing all that signing.
Yeah, there's some that I wish he had signed and some he didn't, but it's all based on, the budget, and now with the fires, that's really changed a lot of things. So
Yeah. Speaking of fires, is there something that you'd like to see with? I know California's under a lot of pressure
yeah.
right now from all that.
Oh yeah, we need to have more money thrown to Cal Fire, and we need to have more resources for our firemen, and I think we need to have more checks and balances there to make sure we have more firemen. I think we're getting help from other states, but we need to build that up. Obviously, what's happened in California is horrendous. So yeah.
And is there any other things that or items that you're particularly passionate about?
Oh, the environment, of course.
Yeah.
And animal rights. I believe that we need to protect our animal friends too. The puppy mills and things like that. There's some bad puppy mills out there, and there's a bill that just went through, but I think it needs to be more intense. I think protecting California is first and foremost, especially for the Clean Water, Clean Air Act. My opponent voted against it. So, we need to look at, if you look at Bill Track 50, you could see how, the Sierra Club, I would vote in favor of the Sierra Club, wherever they would vote, like to protect the air and the clean water, clean air.
So any other particulars as far as the environment goes or changes that you'd want to see?
I just believe that we need to have stricter regulations for our protect our national parks, our state parks, especially with what's happening with the COVID. There's a lot of different things that are happening, things that are getting taken care of. So we need to throw more money at that so we can make sure that the state parks are protected and that they're not being bought out by private industry that so they.
Oh, so when you say protected, you mean like that they stay parks?
That they stay parks.
They're not getting.
Yeah, we need to keep them for the generations to come.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that we have a duty, and that's why I'm running, and it's a duty to protect not only California but to protect our citizens and our children that are coming up. They really we need to protect it for them. Yeah.
Now, I feel like you kind of already answered this, but what's your why? Like, why do you
My big why? Why am I running? Because I want to help. I do this because I think it's the right thing to do, and we need to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. I'll tell you a story. When I first ran, this senior woman came up to me and she said, "I can't afford my rent. I could barely afford," but she put $1 bills in an envelope in front of me, and she goes, "I believe in you." And that's kind of kept my mantra going forward. And I hear these stories and it just blesses my heart. And when I heard that man that was in the mobile home park that was crying on camera about his wife and how he can't pay his rent, that gives me my why. My why is to help them. And even shedding light, win or lose, shedding light on that is bringing forward important thing to help them so they can sleep better at night, so he doesn't have to cry about taking care of his wife.
Is there anything else that you want to add before we?
I think you covered it, and I really appreciate you doing this, David. It's really important to do this.
It's Daniel.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not the first time I got David, though.
Yeah. Daniel. Anyway, sorry about that. But thank you for what you do. It's really important.
Yeah, and what's the website again, or best way that people can learn more about you?
You can find out about me at JackieSmithForAssembly.com, and you can find all about me on my website there.
Great. And this has been Liberty and EDC, and thank you so much for coming on. We definitely appreciate it. And this has been Jackie Smith, and she's running for State Assembly here in California. And you can catch us on Comcast Channel 7 here in El Dorado County, and also on youtube.com/Foothill7TV. And we'll see you guys next time.
Hi, I'm Jackie Smith, and I'm running for California State Assembly District 6. I'm standing in one of the 24 mobile home parks in Assembly District 6, and some of the residents reached out to me regarding Senate Bill 915. This bill protects 2,200 people in my district. Senate Bill 915 protects these residents from eviction during COVID, and our representative Kevin Kiley voted no. Today you're going to hear from some residents that live here and what's happening with them and how they're living in fear, and every day is a challenge.
We are entering our end of life stage, and we don't want to have to spend our time worried about where we're going to be tomorrow morning, or if we're going to be to the point where our rent is so much that we can't even stay here anymore. We live on Social Security. I live on a partial military pension. It's not fancy. Puts food on the table and pays the rent. I've heard all sorts of rumors all sorts of accusations about predatory business practices. You name it, I've heard about it. I've always given people the benefit of the doubt for their word. I try my best. It doesn't always work out that way, but I try.
I never really dreamt that we would end up in a spot like this. But we've had one thing after another in our lives pop up, and then we get hit with this. You have to sign a 25-year lease, and we're going to raise your rent. And all of us here in the park are just so nervous and so afraid of what's going to happen to us.
We need someone on our side in government. We need someone to open up, wake up. We're losing our seniors. There's no housing. When there's 4,000 seniors on the streets, that's a whole other issue than just homeless. Those are people with health problems. That's a severe problem. And now with COVID, it's even worse because those are vulnerable people. We are vulnerable to this, and they don't care. They don't care at all.
We're scared. We do not know where we're going to wind up. Well, I'm on Social Security. I have a small Teamsters pension that I draw. But at some point, if they keep doing what they're doing and raising the rents, we'll have to move. Where do we go?
Right in the middle of a pandemic, extorted the elderly and the sick people on the very time when we are scared anyway. I couldn't sleep because of this.
I am fearful every day, every single day of my life. Something I am not a person generally fearful of anything. But when you have no control, when they can raise the rents every 90 days with a 90-day notice, when every time they raise the rent space $100, you lose $10,000 in equity, it makes you fearful. I've watched a park lose 25 residents because they raised the rent space to $2,500 per space. The owners could not sell, they could not pay, and they could not stay. It's something that I'm going to fight as long as I can fight.
Kevin Kiley accepts special interest money from the Western Mobile Home Association, from the Apartment Association, the Board of Realtors, and the Builders. When you cast your ballot November 3rd, please vote for me, and let's get corporate money out of the district. I'm Jackie Smith, and I'm running for California State Assembly District 6.